Transport in plants. How does water travel uphill? The combination of transpiration and capillary action provides over 90% of the force that moves water through the xylem tissues of the plant straight up. In the process of transpiration, water evaporates through the open stomata. The cell walls within the leaf begin to dry out. The dry cell walls draw water from the cells deeper inside the leaf's vascular tissue so that the water is pulled up through the xylem. The hotter and drier the air and the windier the day, the greater the amount of water loss and the more water the plant draws up from the roots. Let's draw an analogy. Imagine a chain of clowns who are tied together and climb a tall ladder. When the first clown reaches the top, he falls off, pulling the clowns behind him and over the top. Similarly, as water molecules exit leaves through transpiration, they pull up the water molecules behind them. So, how does a water molecule do that? Water molecules are attracted to one another by a force called cohesion. Water cohesion is especially strong because of the tendency of water molecules to form hydrogen bonds with each other. Water molecules can also form hydrogen bonds with other substances. This results from a force called adhesion, which is attraction between unlike molecules. The tendency of water to rise in a thin tube is called capillary action. Water is attracted to the walls of the tube by adhesion, and water molecules are attracted to one another by cohesion. The thinner the tube, the higher the water will rise inside it, even against gravitational pull. Xylem tissue is composed of tracheids and vessel elements that form many hollow connected tubes. These tubes are lined with cellulose cell walls to which water adheres very strongly. When transpiration removes water from the exposed wall, strong adhesion forces pull in water from the wet interior of the leaf. That pull is so powerful that it extends down through to the tips of the roots to the water in the soil. So water molecules flowing in through the root surface to the xylem. So what drives movement of fluid through the phloem tissue in a plant? So changes in nutrient concentration drive the movement of fluid through the phloem tissue in direction that meet the nutritional needs of the plant. The leading explanation of phloem transport is known as the pressure flow hypothesis, shown in the figure. Number one, the membrane of sieve tube cells in the leaves use active transport to move sugars from the cytoplasm into the sieve tube. From the cytoplasm, the source cell, into the sieve tube. Water then follows by osmosis, creating pressure in the tube at the source of the sugar. So by osmosis, the water will also follow. The sugar molecules will then flow down to where there is less. And the sugar would diffuse into cells, and the water will follow by osmosis. Because the xylem is full of water, by osmosis, water will diffuse into the phloem. If another region of the plant has need for sugars, they are actively pumped out of the tube and into the surrounding tissue. Water then leaves the tube via osmosis, reducing the pressure. Actively pumped to where it is needed, for instance, stored in the roots, and then water will follow. The result of the pressure flow system is the flow of nutrient-rich fluids from the source of sugars, source cells, to the places where the sugar are used and stored, sink cells. The pressure flow system allows plants flexibility to respond to changing seasons. During the growing season, sugars from the leaves are directed into the ripening fruit or into roots for storage. As the growing season ends, the plant drops its fruits and stores nutrients in its roots. As spring approaches, phloem cells in the roots pump sugar back into phloem sap, And the pressure flow system raises these sugars into stems and leaves to support rapid growth. Not only do plants raise water against gravity, but also raise food against gravity in season.